Welcome, everybody, to the Eden Armory Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Pete Robertucci. I think it's April 23rd, Season 2, Episode 14 of the podcast. And we're coming to you live from YouTube, Facebook, X, and Kick.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Miss Terry, for your resubscription, Fireman Ed for your resub, as well as Jay Smitty for your follow over on Kick.com. Also, something super cool that I almost forgot. Dan stopped by the house today and he gave me this cool little bourbon glass. What's really cool about this, first of all, Tooch's on it. Second, it's made of oak. So all I got to do is reburn the inside. And you guys know how I love my bourbon smoky. So thanks, Dan. I certainly appreciate that. Oh boy. Let's see. April 25th and 26th, where will I be? Oh, Homesteading and Prepping Summit in St. Johns County Fairgrounds in Elkton, Florida. Come out and see us if you're able. Again, this is my first time at that event, so I don't know what I have in store for me, but what I'm hearing is good things, so we're going to see how it goes, I reckon. Who knows? Also, guys, don't forget to support Miss Terry with her prepping-related books there. Russ is on the ball there, and also Russ with his second book in the Hanging Creek Chronicles. Keep an eye in chat also. We'll rotate the links for that. That way you guys don't have to try to scan all that stuff. Kick chat is popping off. Thanks, guys, for being in there. I don't have a count yet up on the screen, but that'll come up. And I think we might have broken a record tonight. But look, tonight we're going to be talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. It seems to me that the party that started the KKK is still funding the KKK. Kind of cool. And also the biggest threat to democracy is white married Christian males, unless you're not white and you decide to kill 8 children. Well, that's a little bit different. Ilhan Omar makes an accounting error, and the latest psychotic claim by Miss Candace Owens. And you're not going to want to miss this week's educational clip because we're talking tactics, right? But first, let's introduce our guest. Russ, nod your head if he's in. Is he in? Okay, good. Big T from Mountain Readiness. Big T. Where's he at? I don't see him.
Well, he was.
He's in, he's out, he's gone, he's around. Yeah. Well, oh, good God. These guys with technology. This is what happens when you have a hillbilly on. With
Speaking of hillbillies, hold on a minute here.
Russ, what you got there, buddy?
Good clean water. Good clean water. All right, Bob's back on. Let's see if we can pop him on the screen here.
Throw him in here. Let's see what happens.
Trying. There we go. All right, there he is.
Welcome to the podcast, brother. So let's see, Big T. Let's see what do we know about Robert Tomes. Big T is a founder of Mountain Readiness. Yeah, we know that. A self-reliance, preparedness.
I'm sure. How about now?
Yeah, we got you, brother. We got you. And so what I was saying, T, was like everybody knows.
I can't hear you.
Oh, for the love of God, these hillbillies.
Man, what in the world is going on?
You broke it over on. You broke it over on the.
Let's see if it'll let my headphones work. I don't know. Still can't hear nothing.
Broke it over on the Pimp podcast.
We're just gonna we'll put him on the big camera. And we're gonna let him struggle.
Absolutely. It makes for good clips.
Russ, let him struggle. Let him struggle in there.
Let him just struggle.
Can you hear us now?
Let me see what I can do here.
I hear you now.
Oh, there you go. The struggle is real. You broke it over at the Pimp podcast, man.
Figure out why I can't hear anyone.
Oh, all right. Well, here's what we're going to do.
Yes.
Bob, you figure that out. What we're going to do now is I was going to wait until after we did the interview with you, but I think what we're going to do, Russ, is let's go with our tactical Thursday clip. And then if T gets it worked out, we'll carry on from there.
Backstage for a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Let's run that, man.
Let's run that. Let's run this real quick. Hey, tribe, in this week's educational moment, I'd like to clarify something that I get questioned about quite often, especially in regards to firearms teaching methods and techniques. specifically in regards to room clearing. Traditionally, room clearing is done in what's called a dynamic entry, but what it's been gaining ground lately is what's called limited penetration room clearing, which is something I'm very fond of. But first, before we do anything, let's define both of them and then see where everybody lies on this. Dynamic room clearing is a high-risk CQB tactic used by special forces and SWAT that relies on speed, surprise, and aggressive violence of action to rapidly enter and dominate the room before the threat can react. Violence of action, right? Something I talk about often. Whereas limited penetration entry is a cautious CQB tactic that clears most of the room from outside the doorway, outside of that threshold, without fully committing inside. The team uses pie slicing to scan and engage threats while minimizing exposure, then decides whether to enter the room deeper. It prioritizes operator safety over speed. First of all, neither of these techniques is wrong, and by learning both, it only serves as another tool for your toolbox. So let's dive into it. Okay, so first off, look, I don't know who these guys are, and I'm in no way saying what they're doing is right, wrong, or indifferent. What I'm going to do is point out a few areas of interest. So what we have here is a 4-man fire team is clearing out multiple rooms within a structure using the dynamic entry technique. Let's see what we got. Okay, cool. So let's slow it down a little bit. The element of surprise clearly is already gone. This is a center-fed room, means the door is coming into the center of the room. To the left of the door is a bad guy. We'll show you what he looks like. And on the opposite side of the room, there's what we call a dead space, is an area that you can't see from outside the room. And it looks like a little closet or something like that. But let's run this in slow motion and let's see what we see. Okay, so we saw it right there, right? And I'll put arrows up so you can see. Clearly, the guy entering the room has to make a decision. Is he going to go left or is he going to go right? He decided to go right. Problem is, the bad guy was on the left. So, could he have saw that bad guy from the narrow angle if he was using limited penetration techniques? I suspect he probably could have, because the other side of that threshold was wide open. And then watch the number 2 guy as he comes in. The first thing he does, he takes a very long time to put shots on the bad guy that's in the corner. And he advances toward the bad guy. What that ends up doing is opening up that area, that dead space area, to potential hazards within that angle. Well, all right, smarty pants. If you were the instructor here, how would you have taught that any differently? Not much differently. The only difference I would have implemented here was you've lost the element of surprise. Whole-handedly, you're already clearing rooms, and you breached the door going into that room, which means anybody within the angles of that room now are going to look right to that doorway that you breached. So what would I have done different in that situation? If you're going to use dynamic entry, you've lost the element of surprise, I would flashbang that room. I'd put a 9-banger in that room. I'd do something to disorient the people inside of that room. You know, the one thing I failed to mention is that there was actually an open door on the other side of that room, which had they been clearing the room using limited penetration techniques, it would have opened, they would have seen that open door, and maybe that would have changed the entire dynamic of the entry pattern to begin with. So, how would limited penetration have solved a lot of these problems? That's just one example. But maybe next week we'll go through how limited penetration might have been the move for this particular scenario. Be safe, guys. All right, that's our tactical moment of the of the week. But look, listen, we're going to dive into those two different dynamics of room entry here within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Big T.
Finally.
Big T.
Are we good now? Are we good now? You know what
I hear you,
happened is I talked all the crap with Russ, and I was like, man, tell Tooch I got a good microphone and everything. Seriously, as soon as I went live, everything was just going haywire. It's like you rigged my stuff up somehow. What did you do?
Well, I mean, I'm going to put this out here, Pete. I'm going to put it out here. You know, Bob, since the inception of us doing podcasts, dating back to all the way when we first started with Angry, we've always requested that the guests come on 7:30, 7:45 in order to work through any video or audio issues.
Yes, we had that conversation. And my rebuttal is it's Amber's fault. That's my rebuttal.
Okay, I'm good with that.
She made me carry a turkey, and that's it. That's how it went down. I was like, I'm supposed to be on this live, and Russ was adamant about being on 10 minutes early.
I tried, Pete.
It all went to hell.
I know. It's karma, because Russ said he's probably going to get here like 5 minutes still. And I said, well, he's good. He's done this long enough. He's got it all figured out. That's where I jinxed myself, I think, T.
Oh, yeah, we both did. Live and learn, man.
Bob, real quick, are you running through your speakers?
Just on the computer.
That's where the echo's coming from then.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
deal with it. It's not a big deal. We'll go through the interview process here. It's not a big deal. You guys, look, I seen you guys around the campfire drinking like you do. This echo is not going to bother you. I promise.
None.
Bob, you're doing mountain readiness for the 4th year again. So, and it seems somehow to continue to keep fresh and keep growing. What's your secret, brother?
Sheer stubbornness and stupidity. That's it. That's all you got to do, man. You got to be the most stubborn, stupid person, and you make it happen. Like stupid people are good at this kind of stuff. I'm just a dumb door kicking hillbilly, man. I won't take no for an answer. That's what it comes down to.
I like it. I like it.
Absolutely.
You know, and here's the thing: as I printed, let me do this real quick, Russ. Let me do this real quick, and I'll fix that. So here's the thing that I printed out the schedule. And when it came across my printer, I was like, I double printed this damn thing. Like I printed it twice. What the hell? But that's how many friggin' classes and vendors and everything else you get. So it's kind of like, I don't know how the hell you do it and keep everything so fresh and keep so many people coming to this event. But the question I really have for you is with 50 plus instructors, all of which are, for the most part, heavy hitters within the industries. With such a, we'll call it an eclectic group of people, how do you deal with the type A alpha egos that sometimes come along with putting on an event like this?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. So, man, it's for the love of the game, man. Every time an issue comes up, and it does all the time, it is, you got to just remind yourself, man, I got to do something that's bigger than me. This is for a better purpose. This is bigger than I am. And this is about helping people. What it really is, man, because, you know, running an event, like we talked about many times, like I thought doing an event was going to be awesome. It sucks. Like all the work on the back end, the social media, it's horrible. It makes you want to, it makes me want to carve my wrist. I'm going to have to take all these medical classes at Mountain Readiness just to bandage myself up from the constant wrist cutting that I give myself just trying to do that event schedule. But at the end of the day, when 9 o'clock a.m. on Friday, when it kicks off, man, I'm good. Seeing all those happy faces walking around, enjoying themselves, and everybody there for one reason of learning and building community makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. And what is like, what are some of the new classes that people can look forward to this year? Yeah. What are some of the new classes and what are you excited about?
Man, we got, of course, we've got, I talked with Carl, the tactical rifleman, and I was like, hey, look, this whole all women's AR-15 class was awesome. But let's be honest, what's the first thing you grabbing off the nightstand if bump goes in the night? Now, me, it's my carbine. But most people, it's a pistol, right? It's a pistol. And, you know, I did get through Chris's first book, and there was that little incident where Chris's character caught one to the back of the melon. And I was like, is that really what all of y'all husbands want? Is that what you want for yourselves? Bump in the middle of the night and your significant other, your life partner, just unalives you with the freedom seed slinger, glances one off your noggin. So I told Carl, I said, let's do an all women's pistol. So we added that. We are for the first time ever at Mountain Readiness in 4 years. We not only have Billy Bond with Permapastures Farm, we also have his son William Bond, the permaculture consultant, and we are going to do a start to finish sheep processing class. Everything from putting them to sleep to putting them in a package. I mean, this is going to be unlike a lot of these events. And we're not dogging anybody. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But, you know, you go to a lot of events and they just bring out a big slab of meat, a hind quarter, and like, here's how you break down, you know, a quarter. Or here's how you do this. You know, we've done class. We went to a class up in Boone one time for a breakdown class, and it was already skinned and cleaned all up, and it was just, you know, ready to be dissected into pieces. I'm like, that doesn't help the person who is trying to get those skills of start to finish.
That's the easy part.
That's the easy part. Like, here's the truth of the matter, guys. You know as well as I do. Can you really screw up breaking down an animal that's already been, you know, put to sleep and skinned and gutted and the whole bit? No. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You accidentally cut the wrong way through the thigh. You can still eat that. You know, so we said we need to get the start to finish classes. So we've got an all start to finish sheep processing, and of course we're doing the start to finish chicken processing. My lovely wife Amber and Sean Tall with Farm and Forge, they're going to do that. We're also going to do a class about everything chickens. So all y'all that ain't got chickens or you have questions about chickens, like right now there's 400 chickens outside, man. 400 chickens on the ground as we speak. We're spun up on chickens, Chantal as well. So you're like, I want chickens, but I don't know what to get. We're going to tell you what's a dual purpose, what's a meat bird, what's this, what's that, how do you do it on a budget. We're going to go over all that. I mean, we just got a ton of different classes like that. We've got Jeff Adams coming in there talking about, you know, from Micronic Silver, talking about how to build immunity through silver, which has been around for thousands of years, you know, disinfecting, antimicrobial, all this stuff. I mean, this is real world stuff that people can actually utilize in this day and age.
You mean to tell me that prepping's not all about freedom seeds and running and gunning? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're saying to me right now, T?
Here's what I'm saying, man. And I went off on a tangent like this the other day. Right over here behind me is my closet in the next room. And I have enough clothes and shoes in there, because this is America, to last me forever. Like for the rest of my life, if the world ended right now, I'd never need clothes. But everybody's out there learning how to tan hides and make moccasins. And they ain't got no food in their house.
Thank you.
Exactly.
You know, look, keep it as a hobby, guys. You want to make friction fires and stuff? Do it. But do it after you get your priorities in check. Why are we making, I see people all the time, they're making videos. Look at me doing a friction fire. Look at me doing this. Do you have any food?
Right.
Can you grow your own food? You know, who cares? I mean, it's great. It's great to know, but it does not take precedence over staying alive and eating.
Yep.
Well, we had a recruit yesterday for our mutual assistance group here, and we sat after training and kind of talked a little bit. And I go, look, we can teach anybody to shoot. Any monkey can shoot a gun. It's no big deal. And I mean the animal. It takes somebody who knows how to garden to keep the tribe alive. So that's a skill set that, look, firearms and freedom seeds and shootings is like fourth on my list when it comes to prepping.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, you talked a little bit about the mycronic silver. I talked to 2 doctors this week, and they were both very interested in it and had heard of it. And I actually got clearance to use at minimum the topicals. So I'm really happy with that. But Bob, I got a question for you, and I don't know what you did, Pete, to fix your echo, but I'll just deal with it. I saw this online, Bob. You got a new little stabby thing, a mountain readiness stabby thing. Give us a little rundown on it. Give us the specs on it, man.
Yeah, man, that has been a while in the making. Of course, my good friend Kyle with Hagen Customs, they've come a long ways. And I told Kyle, I was like, man, I want a knife that is just the minimum. Look, fancy stuff is awesome. It's cool. But at the end of the day, what do you really need? Like, let's talk about a knife. What do you really need? You need something that doesn't break, that holds a good edge, that is stripped down, does the job, has a little bit of weight to it if you got to chop, but still you can do fine work like feather sticks and whittling and cutting and slicing. And so this knife here was my year and a half of drawing and playing and planning. This is a 5.5-inch blade, 80 CRV2, 3/16 thick steel. BA Kydex, my buddy Corey, who does amazing work with Kydex, we're getting the sheaths together now. We're going to have a green linen handle and the brown burlap micarta handle. It's tumbled, stone washed for an extra protection, takes the glare off. It's got heavy jimping right there at the thumb, where you see my big fat thumb there. And then the rest of the jimping has had a full chamfer all the way around it. So it gives a nice little grip, but it's profiled, so it's not causing hot spots or anything like that. The pommel, of course, rounds over to where you get that extra purchase. It's not going to slide out of your hand as easy. And then the tang, of course, to keep your hand from sliding up over the blade. So I named this the MR minimum. It's the minimum of what you need, because minimum is all you need when you're talking about a blade.
Right. Exactly. Right. And the magic question. What's the price point on this thing?
Man, we're going to run this. This is $225 at Mountain Readiness only. Then it goes up $50. We're going to have about 25 of these, and I think over half of them's already sold, maybe more. But it is a quality blade. This thing, I handle the tip test. This thing, you can beat it, baton it, chop with it, the whole bit. And look, guys, this is not an EDC unless you live out in the sticks like me. All right, this is your all around. I just jumped off into the woods. This is your pack knife. This is what you're taking to the camp to do all the things that you need it to do.
Well, look, guys, look at that blade in comparison. So that's how I envision my blade to be when I decided I was going to try to make this guy. This is the difference between an amateur and a professional blade right there. That thing is jam up. I'll be getting one, and I'm sure two-time Tom, Tom Bryce has already got a couple of them on order. I'm sure.
He's already put the order in. You know, Tom.
Yeah.
But
Now,
which one you want, Pete? I'll hold it on for you. It's either green, or you can do green or brown. And your Kydex sheath is also going to have like an accent on it out of Kydex. I will also do custom orders for anyone. If you like the knife, I will give you custom handle material, custom sheath. If you want a leather sheath, whatever it is, and we can work out, you just contact me and we do the price. If you want a bone handle on this thing with brass pins, done. You just got to tell me what you want and I can make it happen because we've got quite a really good setup over there at Kyle's at the shop. We can do just about anything.
Well,
That's pretty awesome.
I think you mentioned it, but what Patrick's asking, what was the thickness on that thing again?
3/16. So it's heavy duty. This thing's made to put a beating and keep on ticking, man.
It's funny because Patrick spell check got Patrick, so he wanted to know what the thickness of that movie was, and then he wanted to know what the thickness of the blade was.
There you have it, 5.5-inch blade. So you got that piercing power. This is a slight drop point. I like a slight drop point on a blade for the stabby purposes. It's got a flat grind on it. A lot of people are like, oh, Scandi grind, that's the way to go. No, Scandi grind's like this tall. All right, you can sharpen it a couple times and then you're out of area to sharpen. All right, and people are like, Scandi grind is what everyone used. Yes, they used it hundreds of years ago because they didn't have grinders, right?
Yeah.
They were polishing them on rocks. So don't expect a lot. I'm not going to slam people that make them. I'm not going to slam people that have them. But I can guarantee you that this blade not only will it hold the edge better, but you're not using this to mine iron ore. You're using it to, that's what people are like. I can take my Scandi grind and beat it with a baton. It's called an axe. Like, utilize it. I have an axe and I have a knife. You don't use your rifle as a hammer. Like, who pulls their pistol out and hammers a nail in with it? If you do, you're kind of messing up, right? So tools have a purpose. Knives are not meant to be axes.
I want to circle back to something you said about the tactical rifleman teaching that pistol class. And this is something when I'm teaching people here in town, and usually it's ex-military guys where they are superb with rifles. They're amazing with rifles, right? But they don't pick up a pistol. So I ask them, I go, okay, you're in a mall and something goes down. What are you more likely to carry, your pistol or your rifle? And how come you're not training with it?
Exactly.
So
yeah. We know a couple very top tier operators. I know of one that I'm not going to mention his name, but he did some very deep stuff, and he come around a corner and ran face to face into another soldier on the opposite side, and he did not have a pistol, so he had to use a knife. And he said that was the most horrible thing that he's ever done. I also know a couple that did have pistols and come around close to the same mate entry doing clearing a room, and the rifle was grabbed and they couldn't get it swung around, so the pistol come out and did the job for them. It's secondary, but you should know how to use that thing. And I promise you, man, I've been on the range with Carl Erickson. That dude takes his pistol out to over 100 yards and left-handed and hits the target almost every time.
Yeah, so those are the type of instructors, guys, that you're getting right there at Mountain Readiness. And I'm just floored on how many classes you're having this year. And I'm glad you got the schedule out. I know you were taking some heat about not getting the schedule out.
Yeah, but so there are a couple comments, Bob. Charlie Clements, also known as Samowich, says he has a large smoker for a hind quarter of that sheep. So,
are you the one getting stuck cooking it there, Russ?
Charlie?
Or is,
Russ is not cooking.
Charlie, are you going to cook that shank? Are you going to cook that lamb shank? If the answer is yes, I will pull one of them bad boys out and you go to town.
Okay, and the other question, while we're waiting on Charlie to answer, is Amber going to be selling the processed birds at Mountain Readiness?
I am sure you can buy one from her if you so choose.
I'm sure there's some FDA legal type stuff. So I would talk to them in person rather than, and I'm sure that maybe something could possibly happen there. Maybe not. Conspiracy theories happen all the time. So, but I would certainly talk to Amber and T when you're at Mountain Readiness, and we'll avoid all of any trouble that we got going on. T, any additional classes that maybe we could spend a couple extra bucks on after, maybe like on Sunday or anything that people might enjoy?
Absolutely, man. We're going to kicking off at noon on Sunday. There's still classes going till 3, but noon on Sunday, we're going to do our ruck march. Of course, you won't be doing this, Pete, because you bailed on us. Just going to throw that out there. But because turtles are more important than preparedness. I'm just going to throw that in there into the mix.
Hold on, money's more important right now.
Now hold up. Did you just say pieces of paper with dead people on it is more important than self-reliance? Is that what you just told me?
You're right. You got me there. You're right, T. You're right.
All right.
I'd be hypocritical if I were to say anything else. You're right.
Like it would be different if you were like, no, T, I'm getting paid with shekels of silver. I'd be like, oh well, snap. All right, good enough. But no, that's not what it is.
Somebody throw up that emoji of me doing that hand signal for T.
Oh yes, absolutely. It won't show up on the screen. He'll have to see it in the chat. But there you go. Patrick's got one of them up.
There it is.
Patrick was the one that found it, Pete. He was the one that found it first.
Oh, there's no doubt. Voiceover by Matthew says that small farms should be exempted for up to 1,000 birds processed. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Oh, there it
There it
is.
is.
I don't
Under the
know if you can see it.
There's an exemption right there. That's how that works. Under 1,000 birds. But no, classes will be kicking off at noon. We're going to do a ruck march at 9 o'clock. Look, y'all, bring them packs. We got all the special operations guys with mission mules. We're going to ruck around the campground. We're going to come back at noon, we're going to come back at like 10:30, and we're going to set up everybody's ruck bags. We're going to have Alan Kay, bushcraft survivalist Blackie Thomas, Jax Janega, and Brian Loftus. And we're going to do a whole, what do you got in your bag? What are you missing? What do you need? What do you don't need? The whole thing. You're going to have 4 of some of the best primitive skills survival instructors there are. And this is like literally their specialty. And then at noon, we're going to kick off a bunch of paid classes that you can take. Number 1, we got Texas Tony that's going to be doing a distilling class. I really want to get in on this. And look, guys, if you're talking about not even grid down into the world stuff, like if you're into tinctures and herbal remedies, like alcohol is a huge part of that. Alcohol is a huge part of fuel and burning for light. There's so many of the whole part of sanitizing. Like you got all these things that distilling, and he's going to go into all those. And it's like $25, guys. It's nothing. Jax Janega is going to do an extended plant and tree walk. All this kicks off at noon. Extended plant and tree walk, a distilling class with Texas Tony. He's going to give you a thumb drive, all that kind of stuff too. Show you how to make your own mash. I mean, it's start to finish. He also has the stills and stuff you can buy from him. Then we've got the hold up here. Having a mind thought. It's
the mule guys. The mule guys.
Well, the mule guys got the master advanced beekeeping with Fallon Hughes. So if you want to get into bees, which is a super important thing, if you're raising a garden or a fruit orchard or anything like that, no bees, no life. The end. Bees are necessary. I'm going to do a 3-hour class right there. So, and then of course, Monday and Tuesday is range time with tactical riflemen. We have a range not too far from the event. We've got pistol fundamentals on Monday. We've got combat pistols on Tuesday. And then, of course, Monday, we still have openings for Troy's Gate for all of y'all who have not got your feet wet into that world.
Yeah, that's a whole different world, guys. Definitely do Troy's Gate. For the love of God, I'm telling you, do Troy's Gate. Is NC Scout or somebody doing the night driving under NVGs?
Now, not only are we doing the night driving, but we're doing thermal this time. We're doing thermal fundamentals is going to be the class. And then we're going to do the followed by the night driving. So we changed it up again. Now we're going to get into thermals and why you need it. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't care if you are in a combat zone, if you are on a homestead, or you live in downtown New York City, you do not realize how much you need thermal. Just going to tell you that right now.
I agree. Look, it's a different tool, and we've done a lot of tests with night vision and thermal. Certainly, they can both be defeated, but what's hard to defeat is when you have both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool stuff.
And IR, that there, can't say enough about IR. You need to throw that in there. Game changing. And I would tell you, now that I've played into that world, I've got all three. I've got thermal. I've got a thermal on my drone. I've got IR, and I've got the good old PVS 14 greens. That covers everything that I need, and each one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can afford a decent thermal from NC Scout in 1 year if you just quit buying that stupid Pepsi.
Exactly, and
you get it in 3 months if you quit smoking.
And that's what we call them, right? We call them force multipliers, right? We call them force multipliers. So having any one of those devices multiplies. You could be by yourself, and it's like having a 5-man fire team if you're using them in the right way. Oh, Bob.
Yes, Bob.
Look, I appreciate you being here tonight, brother. Got any more questions for Big T?
No, not that it came up. We'll pop this up on the screen though, because I know there are still people out there that haven't bought their tickets yet. Scan the code, go to mountainreadiness.com.
Absolutely. And Bob, before we let you go, tell us about some other events we could look forward to this year from Mountain Readiness Group.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We got, of course, July 24th through the 26th. We're in Montana. Pete, are you going to actually make it to that one?
I hope so, brother. I hope
man,
so.
You better. We're gonna catch mass shit if you don't do it. So no, Montana's gonna be awesome. We're gonna be eating moose and elk and all kinds of craziness up there. Got new instructors, all kinds of stuff. Plus the whole gang that's rolling down there. Of course, October the 27th through the 31st, we got the Sovereign Health Summit with Barbara O'Neill. Health is of the utmost importance in this day and age. If you ain't got your health, you ain't got nothing. And we've got the best in alternative and circadian health is going to be there. Barbara O'Neill, Dr. Tenpenny, Dr. Lee Merritt, Jonathan Otto. I mean, the list goes on. And then, of course, March of 2027, we are in Texas, the Lone Star State for Mountain Readiness, Texas, down there.
Big time. It's big time. I gotta make sure. I really want to go to that Montana one. I gotta talk to the wife. I almost called her the old lady, Russ. I gotta talk the wife into
yeah, you'll catch hell for that one.
Giving me a commitment there. Commitment's hard after being together for 29 years, 28 years, 24 years. Who's counting, right? But Big T, I appreciate you being here, brother. I'm gonna let you go. I know you were on a podcast earlier. I feel bad that I'm going to miss my first Mountain Readiness event, which sucks. But their battle goes on with these turtles, T. You don't understand. It's a mission now. I'm very mission focused. And if I were to leave right now, look, there'd be a genocide on the Robertucci acres. That's just the way it's going to happen. So.
I mean, as it is, he is going out like every 2 hours checking on the place to make sure there's no turtles that have infiltrated.
Right. No, I get it. And I will tell everybody, look, if you can't make it to Mountain Readiness, make it somewhere. I know you guys got a homesteading thing down there in Florida. I was just talking about this with Billy, and I'll leave everybody this. Look, a little over 100 years ago, all right, our forefathers, the sole goal was to prepare through the year for hard times and winter. That meant all your firewood had to be stacked and dry. That meant all your your garden had to be harvested, and all your meat and everything had to be put back and ready, because if you didn't, you were eating your horses. All right? Y'all need to start training and start preparing. Like, if you ain't got it all done, you get to eat your horse. Right? That's what we need to be doing at this point in time in this world. We need to start acting like our ancestors, our forefathers, who knew that once winter rolled around, what you got is what you got.
I agree 100%. T, great seeing you, brother. Again, I'm sorry I'm going to miss this event. That sucks. I hate it. But thanks for being here with us tonight. Guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that dynamic entry video again. That way, because I want to talk about it a little bit, and I was a little bit discombobulated earlier. But T, thanks, brother. And we'll see you. Well, we'll see you when we see you, brother. Appreciate you. Hey tribe, in this week's educational moment, I'd like to clarify something that I get questioned about quite often, especially in regards to firearms teaching methods and techniques, specifically in regards to room clearing. Traditionally, room clearing is done in what's called a dynamic entry, but what it's been gaining ground lately is what's called limited penetration room clearing, which is something I'm very fond of. But first, before we do anything, let's define both of them and then see where everybody lies on this. Dynamic room clearing is a high-risk CQB tactic used by special forces and SWAT that relies on speed, surprise, and aggressive violence of action to rapidly enter and dominate the room before the threat can react. Violence of action, right? Something I talk about often. Whereas limited penetration entry is a cautious. And I see the comments in chat. I know most of you all deal with limited penetration because of your genetic discombobulations, but that's not what we're talking about. CQB tactic that clears most of the room from outside the doorway, outside of that threshold, without fully committing inside. The team uses pie slicing to scan and engage threats while minimizing exposure, then decides whether to enter the room deeper. It prioritizes operator safety over speed. First of all, neither of these techniques is wrong, and by learning both, it only serves as another tool for your toolbox. So let's dive into it. Okay, so first off, look, I don't know who these guys are, and I'm in no way saying what they're doing is right, wrong, or indifferent. What I'm going to do is point out a few areas of interest. So what we have here is a 4-man fire team who's clearing out multiple rooms within a structure using the dynamic entry technique. Let's see what we got. So they're breaching the door. The guy yells, "Breach her up." So now this guy comes up. They're going to breach the door. The door is locked. So they have to now make a commotion within the threshold, within that fatal funnel. Right, guys? Mm-hmm.
It's in the breach! Fire!
Okay, cool. So let's slow it down a little bit. The element of surprise clearly is already gone. This is a center-fed room, means the door is coming into the center of the room. To the left of the door is a bad guy. We'll show you what he looks like. And on the opposite side of the room, there's what we call a dead space, is an area that you can't see from outside the room. And it looks like a little closet or something like that. But let's run this in slow motion and let's see what we see. I want to back that up a little bit because I want you guys to see where that number 2 guy is in relation to this dead space angle over here, right? Look how far he over penetrates to shoot the bad guy over there in that hard corner. And then look how exposed he is to this dead space down here in this closet. Right there. Now look, his number 3 guy hasn't cleared that dead space yet, but he's already within those angles, right? So violence of action, I got it. But is it the safest method to use in this particular instance? Violence of action works great when you have the element of surprise. Don't forget that. Okay, so we saw it right there, right? And I'll put arrows up so you can see clearly. The guy entering the room has to make a decision: is he going to go left or is he going to go right? He decided to go right. Problem is, the bad guy was on the left. So could he have saw that bad guy from the narrow angle if he was using limited penetration techniques? I suspect he probably could have, because the other side of that threshold was wide open. And then watch the number 2 guy as he comes in. The first thing he does, he takes a very long time to put shots on the bad guy that's in the corner. And he advances toward the bad guy. What that ends up doing is opening up that area, that dead space area, to potential hazards within that angle. Yeah. Well, all right, Smarty Pants, if you were the instructor here. Go ahead, Russ.
Where was number 1 guy set up when he on the left side of the door or on the right side of the door prior to entry?
Inside, they all retreated back to cover from the blast. So he was on the left side of the door. Instead of button hook around and toward the bad guy, he decided to cross the threshold and take the right hand side. Yeah. It's neither one's right. It's neither one's wrong. It's just a decision he made. In that case, it's a decision that would have gotten him killed. Not only would it have gotten him killed, it would have got his number 2 guy killed, because as he entered, he would have taken shots from that hard corner from the bad guy. And you think the bad guy is going to stop shooting just because the number 2 guy goes in? No, he's going to keep shooting in that same direction.
Shooting. They would have lost 2 right off the bat at minimum.
So they'd have lost 2 at the threshold. What do you think happens to the number 3 guy? He falls over those guys. So now they're probably losing 3.
Or holds up.
Or number 4 might have enough sense to back up and stop and reassess the situation, right? Mm-hmm. Bullshit, we're talking about flashbangs here in just 1 second. Would you have taught that any differently? Not much differently. The only difference I would have implemented here was you've lost the element of surprise. Whole-handedly, you're already clearing rooms, and you breached the door going into that room, which means anybody within the angles of that room now are going to look right to that doorway that you breached. So what would I have done different in that situation? If you're going to use dynamic entry, you've lost the element of surprise, I would flashbang that room. I'd put a 9-banger in that room. I'd do something to disorient the people inside of that room. You know, the one thing I failed to mention is that there was actually an open door on the other side of that room, which had they been clearing the room using limited penetration techniques, they would have seen that open door, and maybe that would have changed the entire dynamic of the entry pattern to begin with. So how would limited penetration have solved a lot of these problems? That's just one example, but maybe next week we'll go through how limited penetration might have been the move for this particular scenario. Be safe, guys. So there you go, Russ. That is what we know about limited penetration, and we'll dive deeper into that next week, because I actually got a little setup now where I can show not only using limited penetrations to clear that exact room, but also what would have happened if that was live fire coming from that guy in the hard corner, right? Also, guys, don't forget. Well, I didn't even think it. Don't forget. I didn't tell you yet. Next week's podcast is going to be on Friday night. I have something I need to take care of Thursday. Next week's podcast will be on Friday night. So very good. Oh, somebody had a question up here. Bullshit, we answered that. Susie said she was pieing. Oh, I had to read that slowly. Sorry, because I read that as peeing first. But yeah, guys, I pie my corners in my house all the time. It's something that becomes habit.
It's a skill that you need to practice, because it doesn't, for me personally, it doesn't come naturally, because I grew up on dynamic entry. And, you and I have done some training with limited entry, and we want to continue that this summer. That's one of the things that's on my to-do list as a request of what we train on this summer.
Yeah, and Patrick asked, what points do you just shoot through the drywall? And that's the problem, right? With dynamic entry and stuff like that, once you've lost the element of surprise, that's where the problem comes in, where your cover is not really your concealment, right? I mean, and vice versa. So you're going to shoot right through the drywall and deal with that. But if you're using limited penetration techniques, then you always have a bailout spot at a minimum. So it's something
Absolutely.
we're definitely going to go into it next week a little more. I don't want to get too tactical on this channel because I want it to be about prepping, but it's something that I get asked about a lot, and it's something Emory and the IDF guys are very familiar with. And to be quite frank with you, they're using it all the time in Ukraine. They're just not calling it that. But very rarely do you see dynamic entry going on in Ukraine.
Yeah.
They're using it. They're using limited penetration, working angles in trenches all the time over there.
Well, and think about it. School shootings. Okay, dynamic entry isn't necessarily what you would want, because of the collateral damage. That's where that limited penetration entries are beneficial. You have to think of the scenarios that you could run into where it would be more beneficial than dynamic entry, because especially if you have to worry about collateral damage.
Well, and I say this a lot to everybody, Russ, is very rarely will we ever have a fire team. All right. So by its very nature, dynamic entry brings overwhelming force into those angles, right? So you're bringing overwhelming force. If you're one-on-one in your house, best you can do is equal force, right? So dynamic entry should never even take place. Single man CQB should never ever take place. But if you had to, you have to. But if we get stuck thinking dynamic entry and violence of action is the only way we can do this thing, we're behind the eight ball on this, guys.
Absolutely. And think about it. If your significant other is also trained in this, then you still wouldn't do dynamic entry, but at least you have somebody helping watch your back while you do the limited penetration entry.
Yeah, exactly.
And practice.
Yeah, and Fib, I'm telling you, even with night vision and a solid IR laser, you can still do limited penetration. Very specific, very slow, but surgically execute every angle inside of that room. And first of all, the bad guy's not going to know you're there anyway. So the chances of you getting hurt are very minimal, almost nil if you're in a darked out environment and you've got nods and an IR laser and he doesn't. So look, I'm a fan of limited entry. And I think it's taken route. It's taken root right now in a lot of society. But you're not going to do dynamic entry if you're by yourself. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. You're never going to, by its very definition, again, you're not ever going to bring overwhelming force. The best you could ever hope for is a one-on-one encounter. It's not going to happen. So.
And Mike from FIB put in there, absolutely overzealous will get you dead faster.
This is what I tell everybody. Why are you rushing to your death? Why are you rushing to your death? It doesn't make any sense. Look, I know it's cool, and I know you saw,
I mean,
Navy,
back
this guy,
back
that guy, everybody else do it. It's just, no.
back in the day when we were doing dynamic entry training and stuff like that, and if I had to do it in real life, which I never did, yes, there was a $500,000 life insurance policy on me, and that's what I was getting paid to do. I don't have that no more. So,
and look, dynamic entry relies a lot on speed, right? Look, I've lost a step or two in my day. It's not
except against Jason.
Well, Jason, that's like running against Corky Thatcher. It's not the same. It's not even the same. So that doesn't quite matter. Hey, Russ, did you notice when we put something on the screen, it kind of grays out, so we know we put it on the screen?
I did notice that. That's actually pretty darn cool.
That's a lot of cool things
up on the screen, guys. Get your preps in. I've only got we got more than 8 people watching. Get your preps in so we can get them started, so we can get ready to do that. But Pete, I think it's about time we go to the news. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, we got to go to the news, guys. Let's see here. What do we got for the news? Let me go here real quick. SPLC, the Southern Liberty, whatever the hell they're called. I don't remember.
Southern Poverty, Liberty.
Southern Poverty, yeah. They this comes from the same party, first of all, that brought us to KKK. What they were caught doing, I don't know why I'm this ad lib in this. I actually took a couple notes, Russ.
Holy
Took
cow.
a couple notes. So they currently are under federal charges for 11 counts of indictment against the SPLC, the organization itself, not specifically the individuals so far. The counts include 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of false statements to federal insured banks, 1 count of conspiracy to commit concealment of money. This should be a huge story, by the way. This should be huge. The U.S. Department of Justice alleges that between 2014 and 2023, the SPLC secretly funneled more than $3 million in donor dollars to paid informants who are affiliated with what they were calling violent extremist groups. So they're fighting hate groups, but yet they're paying hate groups. Who are the hate groups? The KKK and the United Klans of America. The Aryan Nation, they're fighting hate groups. And these National Socialist Party of America, I'm not surprised they're not giving them money, first of all. The National Alliance, which is another hate group, and other white supremacist and extremist organizations. Huge, huge story. It's not being talked about. A couple agencies are doing it. Let's look at it.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. The indictment describes this conduct in detail, but one troubling example is that the SPLC was paying a member of the leadership group that planned the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017 that resulted in the death of 1 person and injured dozens more.
And Patrick brought up a good point here. Sorry, guys, for pausing this, but could you imagine if Charlottesville never happened? Remember, the Democrats were using this as a talking point because Trump said that there were good people on both sides, right? Which he didn't actually say that. He said the peaceful people were the good people, but there were some instigators within the crowd. Well, come to find out, these instigators were being paid by this organization.
This particular person being paid by the SPLC allegedly received approximately $270,000 over the course of 8 years. In total, according to the indictment, between 2014 and 2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front.
So there you go. Will says he doesn't like cash. I like cash. And the reason I think he is doing something, Will, is because the Democratic Party right now is on a smear campaign for him, saying he's drunk on the job, this, that, the other thing. Guys, I'm working right now. Guess what? I might have had a drink or two. I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely. So, now, over $3 million for over 8 people. That's over $350,000 per person. That's ridiculous considering they are funding the people they're supposed to be reporting.
Yeah, exactly. So they're sponsoring, and it's the same thing. It's like, is that justifying your job? Because if the KKK were to go away, then you no longer are going to have donors. I don't know what the outcome or what the thought process was there, but it's ridiculous to me.
Well, and it's the fact that they were paying these people, Charlottesville being a perfect example of it, paying these people so they could then have their story to tell. that's, and to me, that's treason.
Well, 100%. And are they behind any of these BLM riots, this Antifa
Oh,
riots? I mean, where are they getting? Who knows where this
guaranteed,
money's
between
coming
them
from?
and George Soros.
And is this how the FBI found out? Is because they were looking into these type of organized sit-ins or riots. I don't know. What did it say? They said the payments. Patrick, you said the payment stop alleges between 2014 and 2023, the
23.
SPLC secretly funneled more than $3,000 or $3 million. So I don't know where they're getting that 2013 number, Patrick, but they've been doing a lot more recently than that. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But speaking of hate groups, white America is the biggest threat to democracy, Russ. White America, the married white Christian guy is the biggest threat to democracy, unless, of course, it doesn't fit the narrative, right?
Yeah.
New details about the gunman in that unthinkable attack in Shreveport, Louisiana, that left 8 children dead and a father accused of executing 7 of his own children.
Yeah, it's horrific. And it turns out that the shooter already had a criminal history involving guns and kids, and yet never spent a day in prison. Newsmax crime correspondent Jason Matera is here with the details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Mark and Charlotte. So, yeah, this is one of those stories that shocks you to the core, especially if you're a parent. Right? How do you slaughter your own children? But what's not shocking, sadly, is the suspect's record and the leniency that came with it. So back on March 18, 2019, Shamar Elkins was charged with 2 felonies, illegal use of a weapon and carrying a firearm in a school zone. According to the police report, Elkins allegedly got into an altercation with the driver, pulled out a 9mm, and fired 5 rounds. One of those bullets reportedly landed near a high school where students were present. And then in a move we see all too often, a deal was cut that favored the defendant. The school gun charge, it was dropped on the condition that Elkins plead guilty to the illegal use of a weapon, which was the lesser of the charges. The judge handed him simply 18 months of probation and instructions to surrender his firearm and pay $71 a month for that probation period. That's it. Now, 4 years earlier, in 2015, Elkins was arrested for driving under the influence. He pleaded guilty to that too. His punishment, also probation, 6 months of it. So within a decade, Shamar Elkins has 2 documented cases where his reckless conduct could have killed somebody. Twice, prosecutors offered him an easy off-ramp. Twice, a judge signed off on it. And now that leniency is coming into focus as Elkins stands accused of committing a mass murder against his very own children.
We should also mention, guys, that he was unalived by police after
as Willie should have been.
Yeah, after, so we don't have to pay for him any longer. Guys, I am not, that's an AI moderator, and I've got it set on the most liberal settings
yes,
I
you do.
could possibly have it on.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what you said, Patrick, but you're I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but I mean, it showed up in our chat one. If he's talking about the one about laughing at work, it showed up there. It's on Kick. I don't know. It might have been somewhere else.
He's got some. It put some asterisks up there for whatever.
Oh yeah, it put
a
some
trans
asterisks.
and a. Well, now I'm just. Well, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
So man, guys, so why do I bring up a story like this on a prepper podcast, right? First of all, we need to be prepared on what's going on outside the world. And then we have to understand the real enemy of democracy are these liberal judges that allow these criminals back onto the street. These liberal judges that allow illegal immigrants to commit crimes and still be in this country. So why is that? Because why do I bring it up? Is because that's the biggest threat in America right now. Are things like that. It's basically the Democratic Party. I know, I'm sorry, you can ban me all you want, but the Democratic Party is the most treasonous organization we have right now, and they're the biggest threat to our constitutional republic. Go ahead,
absolutely. Russ. And the fact that this guy had a criminal record with guns, and now we understand, gun laws are made to keep the arms, the legal law-abiding citizen in check, because even if they ban all guns, criminals will still get guns. We know this, And the fact that he's already had incidences with guns and with children in regards to that, he should have never been able to have a gun. He should have been locked up. But now he's locked up in a coffin 6 foot under, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, good riddance. And you're right, Fire Doc. If judges could be sued for malpractice like doctors are, then maybe things like this would change. Also, one thing, guys, I did not bring up was I didn't pull any clips of the Virginia redistricting vote that went through. So basically, that did pass. Of course, there's going to be legal action. It's already pending within the district courts. Go ahead.
Already, a Republican appointed judge came back and said, nope.
Yeah, so
it came out today.
Yeah, so more than likely that's going to be fought through the midterms. So I don't think you're going to see any congressional seats, any House seats going the way of the Democrats. What people don't understand is 51% of the populace in Virginia are now making the decisions for 91% of the populace. Does that make sense, right?
It's the same way in North Carolina. It's the same way in Wisconsin. You know, I mean, we see it in our travels. You know, the big cities, you know, North Carolina being Asheville, Charlotte, Raleigh, those areas, those are the ones that have gotten the federal money from Hurricane Helene. But when you have Yancey and Mitchell County, where it was the devastation, they have yet to receive a single dime.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. The vote, Sandwich says the vote was spread to, I mean, it was a narrow margin, but the way they redistrict all of that is now a very small majority of people are going to make the decisions for the most part for 91% of that population.
And that margin was a beautiful round number. It was like 35,000 even. How often does that happen? Never.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the same way that 18 million voters disappeared from 2020 to 2024 in the most important election of our time, they says. But all of a sudden, 18 million voters suddenly decided they weren't going to cast their vote. No, because it's rigged.
It is. And I mean, you're throwing out 18 million and 35,000 votes. But you're throwing all these numbers out. And that's got me thinking about our good friend, Ilhan Omar.
Well, you know, Russ, numbers are confusing. Numbers are very confusing.
They can be, evidently.
Apparently, Ilhan Omar, we know the Congress lady, the Somalian who's anti-American, anti-Christian, and is basically a jihadist, right, is under scrutiny after her 2025 financial disclosure showed assets worth up to 30 million. So she showed assets of 30 million in 2025, a massive jump from her previous years. Why? Because she wasn't so popular as a Congress lady. Later, she amended her filings, blaming an accountant had failed to subtract liabilities. So I don't know what kind of liability she had, but
I need to find them.
Her net worth went from 30 million to somewhere between $18,000 and $95,000. So I don't know what kind of accountant she's hiring. Probably one of those 68 IQ Somalian accountants. But here's the news story.
A lot of gobbledygook there. That's squad member Congresswoman Ilhan Omar now blaming a, quote, accounting discrepancy for errors in a financial disclosure that listed her and her husband's net worth at up to $30 million. Her amended filing now shows a massive shrinkage of shared assets of between $18,000 and $95,000, according to the Wall Street Journal. Congresswoman's spokesperson says this proves that she is not a millionaire. Let's welcome certified public accountant Dan Geltrude. So even though she admits looking at the form, she says she didn't notice the error, and she's blaming her accountant, Dan. What do you think about all this?
Well, let's go back to the old blame the accountant. Look, David, let's call this for what it is. When a congressperson has to file these financial disclosure firms, they are signing them. And by signing them, what are they saying? They're true, complete, and accurate to the best of their knowledge. So are you telling me that she didn't notice that her net worth went from 100,000 to 30 million?
Right.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I'm sorry. Now, I don't make nowhere near any of that. But if I took that much of a cut in my income, I would notice. I mean,
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, I don't. She's blaming it on liability she had. That means she would have had to spend $29,900,000 on some type of liabilities to come up with a 95,000 income after liabilities.
exactly.
If
And
she said she
Diana,
claimed $30 million, come
Yeah.
on, man.
yeah, Diana's saying that she's saying that they counted all the income in her husband's business, that he is a partner, not a sole owner. Okay.
So then, if he's a partner in a business, what shareholder is he? If it's a $30 million business, is he a 50-50 partner then? That's
Exactly.
$15 million.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that only cuts it in half.
yeah. I bet he's a partner in a lot of business.
Oh,
Probably hospice business, probably Leering Center businesses. I bet he's all kind of businesses. He's a
he probably
partner.
is in charge of all the 7-Elevens, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, but those are Indians. That's
Okay.
not
Sorry. My bad.
Look, I think the real error in all of this is the fact that Omar married her brother. That's what I think the real error in all of this is.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
look, speaking of stupid people, Russ, and look, all right, so I'm going to hurt some feelings, Russ. I'm sorry, Russ. But
Yep.
if you're still a fan of Candace Owens nowadays, guys, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. So let me now recap how close she was to solving this Charlie Kirk thing. She was close. She's very close. Every
She's
week
always close. Very
Very
close. We're getting close.
So now the ATF has come out and matched the bullet fragments with a 30 caliber bullet. The metallurgy within the fragments matched the bullets that were found in the gun. So after this came out finally, this is the new thing Candace Owens has to say.
I'm getting the sense that they had multiple Tyler Robinson lookalikes that day. That's why the footage is grainy. And it's just impossible that all this footage is going to be grainy, okay? I think there were multiple Tyler Robinson lookalikes, and they were wearing maroon shirts and wearing hats and wearing what they were supposed to wear, and they're never going to show us a clear picture of Tyler Robinson because it's very easy to find a Tyler Robinson lookalike and to blur it. That is my conspiracy theory.
Okay, so now that she's saying that we all look alike.
Yep, she's racist.
Yeah, that's racist. I won't stand for it. I demand reparations.
Look, let's call this what it is. This girl
Bullshit.
was in love with Charlie Kirk. He got married. He didn't want anything to do with her. She wasn't the heir apparent to TPUSA, and this is why she's scorned. This is a woman scorned right here, and she keeps coming up with things, ways to smear Erica Kirk for whatever reason. And not only that, to smear the legacy of the man that she that I think she was in love with, Charlie Kirk. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Pete, I saw this morning on Facebook that there's only 30 tickets available. Yes, for the Homesteading and Preparedness Expo in St. Johns County. There are only 30 tickets left. And from what I was talking to the lady today, they are not selling those tickets at the gate. So if you're in the area, get on their website and Homestead and Preparedness Expo in St. Johns County at St. Johns County Fairgrounds. Get there. I'll be there. Will will be there. I think Jason might be there, and our good friend Bobby Lynn will be there. So I'm looking forward to that.
The great fire starters. He makes tremendous fire starters.
Exactly.
And I know you got to set up a screen share here real quick. I had a conversation last night with a very, very dear friend of ours, mine and Teresa's. She was a matron of honor at our wedding. Her daughters were the maids of honor, but we can have a conversation on politics, and we were having one last night, and she brought up that she thinks Orange Man's bad, and I agree with him. And I said, well, there's things I do agree with him, but there are things I don't. I'm not an ever Trumper. And she's started going down the rabbit hole with it. And I said, okay, I got to ask you one question. And you'd be proud of me, Pete. I asked this question. I said, if they were so intent, because she brought up the fact that he's a convicted felon. I said, if they were so hell-bent on getting rid of him, why did they not release the Epstein files? And she had no answer.
Exactly. They had the files in their hands. They could have released them if he was in them.
Yep. She goes, well, you know, they probably weren't allowed to release them because the DOJ and the FBI. I said they owned all of those. DOJ, FBI, CIA, you know, and she's changed the subject.
You want to know how I know they've got nothing on Trump? And this Eric Swalwell case is a prime example of this. They the deep state destroyed that man in 1 week with the information they knew about him. Do you think if they had something on Trump, they wouldn't have destroyed him by now? They fabricated crimes that were misdemeanors into felonies. This is fact. This is not made up. This is what happened. And they said, oh, that didn't work. Oh, we're going to sue him. Nope. So they sued him. They won the case, and that was overturned. So they couldn't break him financially. So what did they try to do next? Well, they tried to kill the man. Twice. I mean, come on.
You know,
just give me a break.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, I know Teresa told me this morning, because I told her we needed to top off with fuel before we head to Mountain Readiness. And we filled up the other day, and then we've had to make several other trips back to town that we weren't planned. Gas prices are starting to drop.
Gas prices are starting to drop. I think now the national average is at $3.48 a gallon. I don't have the slides up. Crude, though, today actually went up to $96 a barrel. And that's from static right now, of course, in the Straits of Hormuz. Guys, in Iran right now, they're basically in the middle of who's in charge. And it's between the IRGC and the less radical people. So the people Trump has been negotiating with, basically. And there was rumors yesterday that the IRGC kidnapped the gay Ayatollah, the son. So there is a coup going on. The hardliners right now will not give up power. I don't know where it all ends. Don't really care. Stay prepped. Stay prepped leads us right into what is your...
It's time for this week's Prep of the Week.
Prep of the Week. And where'd Pete go?
I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Show 10 didn't have both of us in there. Yeah, guys, so my prep of the week. What did I do this week, Russ?
Besides fight turtles?
Yeah, that's an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
What did I prepare? Well, of course, Wednesday training. We always do that. Oh, most of what I've been doing is fighting with the county so I can actually leave Florida for a couple of months. That'd be cool. And
wait.
Yeah, and also I can tell you that the slab is not poured, but it is all formed up and ready to go. And hopefully I'll be able to leave soon. I know Patrick is belly aching that not Patrick, but Jason has been belly aching about me leaving. But sorry, little buddy, you're just gonna have to prepare without me. Russ, what do you got?
Man, I actually have a list this week. I started thinking about it, and we actually did a whole bunch of stuff this week. I have a new pew. Well, actually, Teresa has a new pew that we'll be picking up here shortly, along with some accessories. We ran the freeze dryer, and brother, I pulled the trigger, found the peppermint patties at CVS of all places. Buy one pack, get a next pack for $1.
Wow.
And we made those. They came out of the freeze dryer today. They are the cat's ass, man. They are tremendous.
Yeah, those are pretty good. You'll be proud of me, Russ. I gave all the ones I had here to Jason. Well, since he bought them, I mean, that would be nice of me to do, but they're not even in the house, so I'm not even snacking on them.
No, very good. So I also followed your lead and ordered me one of these. It's getting shipped up to Wisconsin. And so it'll be there when I get there. Scan the QR code, guys. This is a pretty cool little chest rig. It's lightweight, very good for if you're just hiking and stuff, as Pete has shown on a couple of his videos.
So why did you order that, Russ? Let's talk about what we're going to be doing when I get up to, if I ever get up to Wisconsin. Why do you need a little vest like that?
Because you and I are going to be doing a lot of walking. Because we have set a goal for ourselves. My goal is to get down to about 200 pounds. I'm at 217. We're going to be hitting the gym. We're going to be doing some, land nav while we're up there and get lost in the Wisconsin wilderness. My doctors are extremely happy with my progress and they want me to keep it up. We had doctor's appointments the last 2 weeks. We've been running back and forth to Florence. And of course, we're packing. We're packing, getting ready for Wisconsin. We have mountain readiness. Then we have CanCon. And then we'll be headed up to Wisconsin. And I'll say hi to the Red Rock before you.
You probably will. Patrick says he's got nothing this week. His transmission fell out of his truck and everything. He's just preoccupied by work. And you can't see it, but he's got those fancy little emojis I put up. And I'll make some more emojis for you guys for next week. Friday, don't forget. That was fun. Those were fun making.
Will says he got a fuel siphon. And I'm curious, Will, did you get the battery operated one, which is really cool for like $15 at Harbor Freight?
Unless you let me use it.
Unless you let Pete use it, yes. Or did you go just traditional garden hose? I mean, been there, done that. Diesel fuel does not taste well. It tastes good.
Yep.
So let us know in the comments, Will, which one you got.
Let's see what Kelly says. Kelly says he hired an independent auto appraiser to value a truck, force the insurance company to pay him $8 more than they are. Good. Yeah. Look. The insurance companies work for you. That's just a pain in the ass. Diana, what you got, Russ?
More freedom seeds for Diana. You can never have too many, but regular seeds are a lot better. Because like we talked earlier in the podcast, I mean, freedom seeds only go so far. If you had to use a lot of freedom seeds, folks, then your preparedness and your situational awareness is not where it should be.
Yeah, you haven't taken many of Wes's classes if you have to get involved with that. And if you find yourself in a spot within your group where you have to use that, your leadership has failed you. I've said that many times. Russ, I like that saying. Freedom seeds are good, but regular seeds are better. That's the first time I've ever heard that. Boom.
T-shirt.
Oh, there you go. New brakes, sandwich.
That's on the bug out camper.
Oh, I was wondering what that was. Okay. That's a question for T. We'll get rid of that one. E for jars coming as a vendor. Sorry, Chrissy.
We missed that one. And we already talked about that one.
Yeah.
Patrick, we already talked about his.
There's another one. Please pray and tell me that I can change the transmission. You can do anything, little buddy, except hang with the boys around the campfire drinking bourbon.
Hanging with the gray beards.
Yeah.
Okay. Ramona said prep of the week. She was doing some more gardening.
Perfect. Let's see what Skidmore's got to say. He said he went to a weapons retention class and added one more 12-volt 100 amp. I love that you guys are prepping every week. I freaking love it. I love that we do this
awesome.
this bit. Mike, he's not here. He had to go, but
he's getting the damn camper ready for mountain readiness. Installation at the store. No cool tactical stuff this week, other than the fact that he'll be bringing me another prep to mountain readiness. I bought a scope, a nicer long range scope, and we're going to be doing some of that long range pew pew stuff while we're up there as well. We're hoping to have a busy summer. Riding, of course. Riding is going to be important.
Yep, we're going to get her done. I'll get her done this summer, guys. I promise. There's a lot on my plate and a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward. Battle Gnome says he got some mountain house and is working on organizing everything. Good. Look, I mean, I know that you can't stack stuff very high, so so everything's probably cluttered within a foot or two off the ground. But one of your preps might be a step stool.
You're not wrong, because Corey and Nikki invited us over for Thanksgiving after Thanksgiving, and he had to go and get something for Nikki out of the garage. and he's actually quite spry for a short fella and a short, chubby fella. He was climbing up and over and around these shelves and everything. It was quite comical. I should have broken out the video.
Well, he wasn't very spry the night I had to lift him into the back of his truck.
That's because he was walking in cursive.
Susie Q says more gamma-lids for food buckets, planting more crops this week and creating more raised beds. Made a trellis or a
Make
special made
friends with
trellis.
your local welder folks. Absolutely.
100%. Let's see what Rev's got going on here.
Rev's continuing building up the garden.
I love that you guys are doing that.
I wish I had, number one, the time at home and the knowledge to do that. That is something I'm lacking. Now, I sent you last week, I think I sent you a video of plans for a raised bed area. And that was actually pretty cool. And you had mentioned that you might be doing something like that up in Wisconsin. So I'm interested in helping with that.
Yeah, if I ever get up there. But I don't know about you can buy those damn galvanized raised beds for so damn cheap nowadays. I know the galvanized you shouldn't use for vegetables, blah, 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 blah. But look, if that's what kills me, good God.
Yeah, that's the least of your worries of things that's going to kill you.
Jason says he built a badass shelf for more stuff, and he's got a new bump helmet coming for his NVGs. Guys, I want to talk about NVGs. I met somebody in Jacksonville last week who is a NVG. I think he makes them and he retails them, from what I understand. But I'm working on getting some affiliate stuff worked out with him so we can get some discount codes and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in any of that, I'll keep pressing the issue. But he's got pretty good tubes for a relatively reasonable price. Well, for nowadays anyway. So that's I'm working on stuff for you guys, I promise.
And I don't know if anything else has come in as far as preps of the week. I'm just scrolling real quick.
Patrick says he got a night vision mount on his phone, Milwaukee pump helmet for work, and it's phenomenal. I put a night vision mount on my phone. Got it. Okay. Milwaukee pump helmet for work, and it's phenomenal. Patrick, I think from now on, what we're going to do with you is we're going to have you call in, or I'm going to give you a link to the podcast. We'll blur out your face. You don't have to be on camera, and we're just going to let you sit in. And I want every thought you actually have to come out.
Oh, Lord. There goes TikTok. There goes TikTok.
Great question. I have been talking to somebody about an Eden Army knife, and it's going to be a strictly tactical knife for your chest rig or your belt. I have been looking at that, but I want to make it affordable. If I could get them for what he's getting them for, then, and I may have Tom Bryce talk to Gahagan and see if he can do it for cheaper than this guy.
Diana, you mentioned that you want a freeze dryer. By all means, try to use Pete's affiliate code if you can go that route.
Please.
But I had to say it because, some of us we don't have Robertucci money.
Yeah, I don't have Robertucci money either anymore.
Not this year. I don't understand why. But if you call Harvest Right and ask them about their factory seconds.
Oh, sure.
And that's the one we have right back there. It runs like a champ, and we've had no issues with it. And it was factory second, and it saved me a good bit of change.
Perfect.
So,
Russ, next Friday night, you guys won't be in Mount Readiness Friday, will you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So
day one, brother.
Yeah. So next Friday night, Patrick, you have an open invitation to be the voice of Eden in the
he's going to be at Mount Readiness as well.
I know. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
And then Susie says she 100% supports having Patrick as a star on the podcast.
Who says that?
Susie.
Well, and then he can come on, and then Tiny can call him gay.
Well, that's a gimme. Rev, I agree. That's your first prep, right, brother?
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Russ, let's lead us out. Sorry.
There you go, man. I agree with everybody else. I wish you were coming to Mountain Readiness, but I will see you sooner rather than later because you're going to get everything done and you're going to head on up to Wisconsin, and we'll try to diminish the supply of bourbon that they have. Guys, this community that we have here is just so wonderful. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys, meeting and seeing you guys again. Thursday night is Shrimp and Grits night, so that's something that we have to look forward to, because we had to move it to Thursday just because of all the other stuff that's going on that we really want you to be able to do at Mountain Raiders. Go see Anthony Bennett. Go see the Quicker Liquor Band, or whatever the name of it is. Not to mention that's the night of the drawing. The drawing is Saturday night. But keep your preps up, keep your training up, and keep your community together. That's all I got for you, Pete.
I appreciate you, Russ. Kelly, I'll be up there by the time everybody gets up to the North 40. I promise. Well, I say I promise. I'm doing my best. Guys, look, we had a good show. A few technical difficulties. Sorry, it happens. We adapted. We overcame. Next week, our podcast is going to be on Friday night. Don't forget, Friday night next week, I'll put out stuff on the social media. And we're also going to continue on the tactical room entries, and we'll touch bases on that. I don't want to make it too tactical on the podcast, but something I get asked about a lot. So let's expand on it. Let's get it done, and we'll go from there. Guys, you know the routine. Be safe. If you can't be safe, well, be dangerous. Thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. If you can't be safe, be dangerous.